Today, a short, practical fix for a common problem: models that slowly drift from your brand voice and business rules. Quick hook: a support team found 40% of AI-suggested replies needed editing. That added up to about 6 staff hours lost every week and inconsistent messaging that confused customers. If that sounds familiar, stick with me. I'll walk you through a one-page prompt contract, an audible 6-point checklist you can use in QA, and a concrete 3-week pilot plan you can run this month.
First, the plain English problem. Drift, tone mismatch, and duplicate work don't feel dramatic in a single reply, but they pile up fast. One agent edits a phrase here, another rewrites a paragraph there. The result: inconsistent customer experience, slower responses, and a smattering of internal confusion about who owns what wording.
2 quick definitions so we're aligned. Edit rate, the percentage of model outputs that require human edits before they're published. Acceptance tests, a short set of sample inputs that the model output must pass. Think of them as simple executable quality checks.
Reveal time, the prompt contract. Think of this as a compact 3-part one-page contract your team can copy into a shared doc. The 3 parts are purpose, required structure, and safety and tone. Purpose says why this contract exists and the exact scope. For example, support reply templates for order status and returns. Required structure lists the fields the model output must include, length limits, and a short example. Safety and tone covers forbidden phrasing, escalation rules, and the tone boundary. Friendly but concise, no marketing language, and always include the next step for the customer.
Here's a filled example for a support reply. Read as you might find in the contract. Purpose: provide a clear order status reply when a customer asks, "Where is my order?" Required structure: greeting, 1-line acknowledgement of the request, current status in plain terms, next step for the customer, sign off with contact options. Length: 2 to 4 sentences, maximum 40 words. Safety and tone: no promotional offers, escalate if tracking is missing. Tone is empathetic, direct and reassuring. Sample reply: "Hi Emma, I can see your order is in transit and due to arrive Tuesday. If you'd like, I can place a delivery alert. Otherwise, tracking shows it's with the carrier. Reply with any questions and I'll help. Thanks, Sam."
And now, a 20-second clip from a small customer support pilot. Listen for the concrete benefit language. We tried the one-page contract on our returns flow for 2 weeks. Edit rate dropped from 40 to 18%, and the replies sounded like our team again, not like a robot trying to upsell. It saved roughly 6 hours a week and cut internal rework in half.
Next, the audible 6-point checklist you can use in recording or QA. Read this aloud when you review an output. 1. Does the reply include the required fields? 2. Is the length within the stated limit? 3. Is the tone within the agreed boundary? 4. Any forbidden phrasing present? 5. Does it pass the acceptance tests examples? 6. If uncertain, should this be escalated to a human? If a reply fails any item, mark it as edited and note which item failed.
Now the 3-week rollout I recommend: lightweight, measurable, low friction. Week 1, adopt the prompt contract for a single well-defined flow, for example order status replies, and use the checklist in live QA. Keep the model write disabled so humans still control outgoing text. Week 2, run a read-only A/B with acceptance tests, route model suggestions to a parallel inbox, and measure edit rate, time to publish, and tone drift against current practice. Week 3, iterate on the contract with the team, tag the version as V1, and decide next scope based on your metrics.
What metrics move first, and what are reasonable targets? Start with edit rate, time to publish, and a simple tone drift check using acceptance tests. If your starting edit rate is around 40%, an early realistic goal is to get below 20% in the pilot. Time to publish should move down as agents spend less time reworking replies. Aim for a 20 to 30% reduction in average handle time for that flow. Tone drift, track the percentage of replies failing acceptance tests. Try to keep that under 10% before enabling write-enabled automation.
Risks and how to avoid them. First risk: teams treat the contract like a checkbox and never iterate. Mitigation: require short review windows and a version tag, reviewed fortnightly for active contracts. Second risk: Applying contracts to workflows that need creative variation, that stifles useful experimentation. Mitigation, start with one high-value, well-defined flow and limit scope. Third risk, false security. Contracts reduce but don't eliminate risky outputs, especially where impacts are high. Mitigation, keep a human in the loop for high-impact outputs and set conservative acceptance test thresholds before you enable right-enabled use. Fourth risk, template proliferation and maintenance overhead. Mitigation, store contracts in a single accessible repo and tag versions clearly.
Production notes and a quick listener action. Store your prompt contracts in your central documentation, your knowledge base or docs repo, and name them clearly with version tags, for example, orders-replies-v1. Log who reviewed it and the review date. Now take 5 seconds and think of one flow you could pilot this week. Order status, returns, lead summary, pick one. Oh wait, which single flow is high value, well defined and low creative variance?
Recap. 3 quick takeaways. 1. A one-page prompt contract gives clear, transferable guardrails for specific flows. 2. Use an audible 6-point checklist and acceptance tests to keep outputs aligned. 3. Run a focused 3-week pilot and measure edit rate, time to publish, and tone drift before scaling. Your one next consideration this week: try the contract on a single workflow and measure the edit rate before and after.
Thanks for listening to AI Engaged. If you want AI tools you can actually use in your business, explore our subscriptions at aiengaged.com. See you in the next episode.